Welcome to Buddhist Bookshelf, your dedicated Buddhist audiobook YouTube channel. As we conclude our exploration of the awakening of wisdom and compassion by the esteemed Venerable Master Chin Kung, it's evident that this book offers a transformative journey towards enlightenment. Through its profound teachings, it has illuminated the path to wisdom and compassion, guiding us towards a more meaningful and purposeful existence. The wisdom contained within these pages is a beacon of light in an often complex and challenging world. It encourages self-reflection, mindfulness, and a deeper understanding of the human experience. Venerable Master Chin Kung's insights are not only enlightening but also practical, offering valuable guidance for living a virtuous and harmonious life. For those eager to continue this enlightening journey, we've provided a link to the full playlist in the description of this video. We invite you to explore more invaluable readings and resources on the Buddhist Bookshelf to support your pursuit of enlightenment. Your dedication to personal growth and spiritual development is a commendable endeavor, and we are here to accompany you every step of the way. If you haven't already, we encourage you to subscribe to our channel. By doing so, you become a part of our growing community committed to spreading the wonderful teachings of the Buddha. Your subscription allows us to continue sharing these invaluable lessons with the world. If you find this audiobook series inspiring, don't forget to hit the like button and share it with your friends and family. Together, we can help make the teachings of the Buddha accessible to every human being, fostering understanding, peace, and compassion across the globe. Thank you for joining us on this enlightening journey, and let's work together to illuminate the path of wisdom and compassion for all. Chapter 7. The Right Order of Learning Buddhism. Belief, Understanding, Practice and Realization. We have looked at the basis for learning and cultivation, and have had a brief introduction to the main practice guidelines. Now, let's look at the creative teaching methods of Buddhism. As Master King Yang explained, in the Flower Adornment Sutra, learning and cultivation can be divided into the 4 stages of belief, understanding, practice and realization. The first stage is belief. When we are able to believe, then our conditions have matured. There is a saying, the Buddha is unable to help those who have no affinity with him. What is affinity? It is being able to believe. Even a Buddha cannot help someone whose conditions have not yet matured. However, when they have matured, the person will have belief. Then the Buddha can help. Religions are different from Buddhism in that once the believers have faith, they are saved, whereas the belief in Buddhism means that we believe in the benefits of Buddhism and accept one of the many methods. Once we have the belief, we have to have understanding. Buddhism explains the truth of life in the universe. Only after we have acquired a true understanding of it can we begin our practice. Therefore, practice is based on understanding. If we do not understand the principles and methods, how can we practice? True practice is based on the foundation of principles and correct methods. The ultimate goal of practice is to achieve attainment, to attain the real benefit. What is attainment? It is the application of what we believe, understand and practice in our daily lives to attain the ultimate enjoyment in life. For example, what we find in the Infinite Life Sutra is just what we think and practice. What we think and practice in our daily lives conforms to the sutra. This is attainment in true reality, and this is what makes Buddhism so valuable. Thus, we need to know the proper sequence of cultivation, which is belief, understanding, practice and attainment. When we speak of belief, first we believe in ourselves. This is where Buddhism differs from religion. In religion, the most important criteria is to believe in God. In Buddhism, the most important criteria is to believe in ourselves, not something outside of ourselves. We need to believe that we have the same Buddha nature. Believe that originally we were Buddhas. Believe that we are no different from the Buddhas. Believe that our true nature has become polluted, and that once we remove this pollution, we will uncover our true self-nature. However, if we are always dwelling on thoughts that we have heavy karmic obstacles and fear that this will keep us from achieving attainment, then we definitely will not achieve. Why? If we do not believe that we can achieve, then even the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas cannot help us. Buddhas and Bodhisattvas can only help those who help themselves. Therefore, it is crucial that we have this confidence and belief in ourselves. In addition, we also need to believe in the teachings of the Buddhas. We have been told infinite principles and methods. We will surely succeed as long as we follow them. After we have belief in ourselves, we need to have belief in the Buddha's teachings. Master Yi described this as believing in principles and in matter. Where does matter come from? From the principle, that is the pure mind of the true nature. All phenomena in the universe arise from the principle. They are related by the endless cycle of cause and effect. A cause gives rise to an effect, which in turn becomes the cause of the next effect. This process continues ceaselessly. Developing understanding and belief in true reality builds our confidence, enabling us to seek thorough understanding of everything. Only in this way can we be free from confusion and doubt, which are obstacles in our cultivation, and thus obtain enjoyment and smooth advancement. In practicing Buddhism, it is most important to accept the teacher's instructions and practice according to the recommended methods. This has been the right way to learn since ancient times. The first requirement was to follow the 5-year learning restriction, which was set by the teacher. In so doing, the teacher took full responsibility for whether the student succeeded or failed. This is the principle of honoring teachers and revering their teachings. This principle, however, no longer holds today, for teachers are not responsible and students are not earnest. The principles of teaching are declining, and this is the tragedy of our times. Students no longer respect teachers, and teachers no longer sincerely help students to achieve. The 5-year learning restriction resulted in the student following just one teacher. It laid the foundation for the 3 learnings of self-discipline, deep concentration, and wisdom. It was the responsibility of the teacher to see that the student learned this. Consider Zen Buddhism. What did the teacher ask of the student for the first 5 years? They were assigned a simple manual labor and asked to perform it earnestly, without change, every day. They were also to memorize the Sutra. They were to read after completing their work and not to be concerned with anything else. The purpose of this labor was not to treat them as servants. After a while, the student felt bored and would think that he or she had worked very hard for 5 years without accomplishing anything. In actuality, he or she had acquired much without realizing it. What was acquired? Afflictions were greatly reduced, and concentration was increased because of a ban against seeing and listening to many things. If the ban was properly followed, the students attained both good fortune and wisdom. What is good fortune? Working every day in the way place was cultivating the practice of giving. Since monks and nuns had no money to give away, they could work to cultivate the paramita of giving. Through the restrictions on listening and reading, thereby concentrating the 6 sense organs, the students also acquired a pure mind and attained deep concentration. This is wisdom. So, the teacher taught the students to cultivate good fortune and establish the foundation of self-discipline, deep concentration, and wisdom. The teaching was designed to be subtle yet effective. With the 5-year learning restriction as a base, upon listening to 1 or 2 years of Dharma lectures, the students could become enlightened. In the biographies of well-accomplished monks, we see that through this method, many monks become enlightened in 3 to 5 years. Today, however, practitioners can live in a way place for 30 or 50 years, even a lifetime, without awakening. They may have read numerous sutras but were still not enlightened. At most, they have memorized some general knowledge about Buddhism, but nothing to sever their afflictions or attain wisdom. So, we must try to find a good teacher for guidance. This advice may seem boring at first, but after the initial stage, we will be truly delighted and joyful in our attainment. Many of us have made the big mistake at the beginning of our cultivation, of wanting to learn all different methods. Ancient learned monks and nuns started with the second of the great vows of Buddhas and Bodhisattva: afflictions are inexhaustible, I vow to end them all. In ending all afflictions, we will achieve deep concentration and attain wisdom. Then, the ways to practice are boundless, I vow to master them all. This is the correct order for cultivation. The mistake many people make is to attempt to study extensively without having severed afflictions. Master King Yang called this understanding with no practice. These people concentrate only on understanding while neglecting the practice. They do not try to end their afflictions to cultivate a pure mind. As a result, they develop deviated viewpoints rather than proper views in knowledge. Practicing the three learnings concurrently. What is the first step in learning Buddhism? Start by reciting one sutra. Do we need to understand it? No. For when we have not ended afflictions, our understanding will be erroneous. Then why do we recite only the sutra? By reciting the sutra, the three learnings of self-discipline, deep concentration and wisdom are accomplished together. Self-discipline requires that we do nothing that is bad. Do all that is good. Reciting a sutra can prevent us from generating wandering thoughts, so we will be prevented from doing anything that is bad. Sutras are words that flow from the Buddha's true nature. Nothing can surpass these words in virtue. Therefore, reciting a sutra is doing all that is good and results in the perfection of self-discipline, so there is no need to practice the precepts one by one. When reciting a sutra, we must focus. By focusing, we cultivate concentration. Clearly enunciating every word correctly without any omission is the practice of wisdom. Therefore, reciting the sutra properly is to practice the three learnings at the same time. Any attempt to analyze the sutra while reciting is in fact treating the sutra as a worldly book. This will result in none of the three learnings being accomplished and is not true cultivation. Never belittle the practice of sutra recitation, as it is the base of cultivation. Reciting for 1 hour accomplishes 1 hour of cultivation, reciting for 2 hours accomplishes 2 hours of cultivation, etc. Needless to say, the longer the better. Many of my fellow practitioners in Taiwan and Dallas are reciting the Infinite Life Sutra 10 times a day. So far, some may have chanted the sutra over 2,000 times, thus they are very familiar with the text and only need 30 to 45 minutes to finish one sutra. Reciting 10 times thus means 5 or 6 hours of practicing self-discipline, deep concentration and wisdom. With so many hours devoted to cultivation, we will naturally develop a serene mind in just a few years' time. Sutras flow from the pure and quiet mind of the Buddha. When we have developed a mind as pure and quiet, we will understand all we read in the sutra. The reason why the sutra is so hard to understand now is that our minds are filled with wandering thoughts. How can this mind be in harmony with one that is pure and quiet? This is why we do not understand the Buddha's words. So, if we want to learn from a good teacher, we need to trust and believe that their methods are proper and correct. Just chose one sutra without being distracted by any others. If we chose to follow the Pure Land School, we recite and study the Infinite Life Sutra. If we choose to follow the Tiantai School, we recite and study the Lotus Sutra. If we choose to follow the Flower Adornment School, we recite and study the Flower Adornment Sutra. When choosing a school, follow its principles and delve deeply into the sutra for 5 years. In other words, sever all afflictions and try to develop a pure and quiet heart. This is the first step in learning Buddhism. Frankly speaking, 5 years of learning and cultivating were enough for a practitioner to attain a pure mind in the past, because their minds were not as polluted as ours now are. In the past, children would remain innocent until around 10 years of age. Then they would begin to be aware of differences between right and wrong, self and others. They would begin to develop such characteristics as greed, anger, ignorance and arrogance. Look at today's children. They start showing greed, anger, ignorance and arrogance when they are only a few years old. Where do they learn these things? From television. They are exposed to television every day. They naturally become polluted. They do not have the happy innocent childhood their parents had. How unfortunate they are. I was born and grew up in the countryside and was neither sensible nor knowing of the world until I was 13. True happiness is to remain innocent as long as possible in childhood and to not be aware of any of the suffering in the world. All I knew was how to play. Once we lose our childhood innocence, we are no longer happy. For then, We have to be constantly aware of others. So, I say that modern people are less fortunate than their predecessors are. Once we have developed a pure and quiet mind and have attained wisdom, then we can begin to broaden our knowledge. We can see, hear and learn of anything that we are interested in, for now we have attained wisdom and will not be affected by our surroundings. Since we have self-control, the more we see and hear the wiser we will become, and the greater our strength from deep concentration will be. How are deep concentration and wisdom increased? Remaining unmoved by surroundings will enhance deep concentration. Developing a clear and understanding mind will enhance wisdom. Then we can learn from other schools to further enhance our deep concentration and wisdom. First, we practice self-discipline, concentration and wisdom to attain our original wisdom. Then we can learn extensively to perfect our acquired wisdom. This is the way of learning from ancient times. The Buddha told us in the great Prajna Sutra, innocent intuitive wisdom knows all. So, we must cultivate innocence first. The 5-year method of practicing self-discipline results in our remaining innocent of the happenings in the world. When we are again in contact with the world, we will be aware of knowing all. This is the proper sequence and method to learn and practice Buddhism. Ancient patriarchs not only abided by the rules set by Buddha Shakyamuni, but also took Confucianism as the basis for their learning and practice. Chinese Buddhism has abandoned Theravada Buddhism in place of Confucius teachings. Chinese Buddhists, as the basis for learning Buddhism, adopted the 5 virtues of Confucius of gentleness, kindness, respectfulness, thriftiness and humility. From this foundation, they developed the 3 conditions, the 6 principles of harmony, the 3 learnings, the 6 paramitas and the 10 great vows. All the schools of Mahayana Buddhism adopted this framework of learning and teaching. In other words, we can accomplish our learning and cultivation in any school, as long as we follow these principles and methods. So, we can say that taking the 5 virtues and 6 harmonies is the basis and a unique characteristic of Chinese Buddhism. There was another advanced method of teaching and learning in Buddhism, continuing education for teachers. It was not until recently that this method again came into use. When he was in this world, the Buddha had many students. Some stayed with him because they had not finished their study and thus had not yet become independent. But others had reached some achievement. The latter were bodhisattvas, who were responsible for spreading Buddhism. They went to different locations, set up way places and taught on behalf of the Buddha. Then they would return to where the Buddha currently was for a 3-month summer retreat for continuing education. This is similar to today's summer vacation when the students are out of school, but the teachers cannot rest for they need to receive further training. So, the bodhisattvas went back to be with the Buddha for a summer retreat. They listened to his teaching and thus were able to increase their concentration, wisdom and virtues. They also discussed difficulties they had encountered in their teaching and tried to find the solutions. They learned from each other in seeking self-improvement. This system of continuing education has been infrequently seen in Chinese history. It is advisable that way places in Buddhist societies conduct summer and winter retreats of Buddha name chanting and Zen meditation, seminars, etc. for short-term training. This is very effective, and people are able to accept this idea of short-term continuing education. If we directly tell them that it is for severing afflictions, cultivating self-discipline, deep concentration and wisdom, and transcending the cycle of birth and death, only a few people can accept this concept or be interested. Today, people differ in their concept of Buddhist education from those in the past. They want to learn more at the beginning of their study, not knowing that their method will limit their accomplishment, whereas following the traditional method and practicing Buddhism can result in infinite benefits. In the past, many people have benefited from this traditional method and achieved in their cultivation and attained Buddhahood. However, at best, the present methods can only help us to get a doctorate of Buddhism, fame and wealth. But frankly speaking, it will not be easy for us to sever afflictions or transcend the cycle of birth and death. We should consider this very carefully. Chapter 8. The Artistic Aspects of Buddhist Education. The earliest system of continuing education. Buddha Shakyamuni gave lectures in many places, as did Confucius. In India, the Buddha and his students were invited by different groups to give talks. They would lecture in those areas for a while, but did not remain permanently. As most of the Buddha's 12,050 students would follow him, it would have been very difficult for one place to support all of them. Only after Buddhism was introduced into China did Buddhist monks and nuns take up permanent residence in what was similar to a Buddhist educational institution. This came about because the introduction of Buddhism into China was supported and financed by the emperor. In India, people respected ascetics who traveled holding an alms bowl and therefore supplied them with offerings. In China, however, people would have regarded this tradition as begging. Since the emperor who respected them as teachers had invited the monks to China, it would have been unacceptable to have them roaming the streets begging for food. Therefore, houses were built for them to live in, and people were sent by the imperial court to assist the monks, so they would not have to worry about their livelihood. By the Tang dynasty, the system of Buddhist universities had developed. Masters Baizhang and Mazu were the initiators of these institutions. Master Mazu was the 8th patriarch of the Zen school and the 3rd-generation student of Master Hui Neng. There is a Chinese saying that Master Mazu built the university and Master Baizhang set up the rules. What is this Buddhist university? It was the systemization of Buddhist teaching, the next step after what had been the verbal passing of teachings from a teacher to private students. After Master Mazu, the idea of the university continued to grow. This educational system was the special feature of Chinese Buddhism. The textbooks, lectures and teaching methods all attained the highest level of artistry as can be seen in the writing, music, images, architecture, offering implements, etc. Today, however, many of these perfect teachings are lost to us. The art of Buddhism. Today, the quality of Buddhist music has deteriorated. We are short of talented people, not only Buddhist artists with creative talents. Therefore, a Buddhist artist has to be profoundly learned, for only then can he or she truly teach others and convey truth, goodness, beauty and wisdom. Ancient masters with high spiritual achievements composed Buddhist musical lyrics, but because the minds of today's people who chant them are not pure, their expression of them is also not pure. Spiritually, they have yet to achieve a state of awakening and are thus unable to move us. The artistic decline is caused by the lack of talented practitioners. It does not mean that Buddhism lacks artistic substance. Anyone who has been to China and visited the Dunyuan murals or the Yonggang grottos, or the stone sutra texts found in Fengshan County, Beijing, knows how magnificent Chinese Buddhist artworks can be. The stone sutras were found in the years after the Cultural Revolution and are more extensive than the great Buddhist canon. Some of the sutras were translated at a later time than those in the great Buddhist canon. Fortunately, they survived in the Fengshan site. The stone slabs are carved on both sides with each beautiful character the size of a thumb. The entire project took 400 years to complete, equal in scale to the building of the Great Wall. This recently discovered collection includes tens of thousands of stone slabs stored in 7 caves. At present, only 2 of the caves are open to the public. We were filled with awe and admiration when we saw these stone sutras and could not help but admire our ancestors for having preserved such a legacy for us. Today, schools and museums are separated. However, the system of Buddhist universities is similar to a combination of school and museum. For the art forms are educational, not just artistic. They exhibit inspiration and wisdom not discernible by average people. For example, when people see the many images of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they conclude that Buddhists worship many deities, and therefore Buddhism is a religion, and one of low standards at that. Most people believe that an advanced religion worships only one God. They do not understand that Buddhism is not a religion, that we do not worship the images of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, but rather we regard them as teaching aids, which help us to understand the different methods of cultivation. One single image or method is insufficient to represent all phenomena in our world. so Buddhism uses many kinds of artistic works to represent them. Once we have understood the educational significance of Buddhist artistry, we will naturally give rise to admiration and appreciation. All Buddhas symbolize our virtuous nature. All bodhisattvas and arhats symbolize the virtue of practice. Without the virtue of practice, the innate virtuous nature cannot be revealed. This complementary relationship is why the Buddha table includes both Buddha and Bodhisattva images. The Buddhas represent original nature, and the Bodhisattvas represent the application of this nature. This original nature is empty, as it has no set form. All creations or form arise from this original nature, and once there is form, there is application. The Buddha represents the original nature, and the Bodhisattvas represent form and application. This is why in the Flower Adornment Sutra, the Buddha does not comment on the teachings, for the original nature that is empty has nothing to say. But the Bodhisattvas do have something to say since they apply the principles. Not only is the original nature unexplained, but also no thoughts arises from it. The saying that whenever I open my mouth I blunder, whenever I have an idea I am wrong, is said in terms of original nature represented by one Buddha. Why are there two Bodhisattvas to represent application? The infinite and innumerable form and application are divided into two categories, wisdom and practice, or understanding and behavior. Practice corresponds with understanding. Understanding is the principle and practice is the application. When we see the image of Buddha Shakyamuni, usually Ananda and Kasyapa, two great arhats are to his left and right. Buddha Shakyamuni represents our original nature. Ananda, who is foremost in hearing, represents understanding and wisdom. Kasyapa, who is foremost in asceticism, represents practice. We may also see Buddha Vairocana, the wisdom body of Buddha Shakyamuni, with great wisdom bodhisattva and universal worthy bodhisattva to his left and right. Great wisdom bodhisattva represents understanding, universal worthy bodhisattva represents practice. Pure Land Buddhism regards Buddha Amitabha as the original nature, with great compassion bodhisattva representing compassion and practice, and great strength bodhisattva representing wisdom and understanding. Due to these profound meanings, there cannot be two or more Buddhas and three or more bodhisattvas. Each Buddha represents a part of the virtuous nature. Every part of it is perfect, so one is all is one. Each name illustrates the virtues. For example, Shakya means kindness, teaching us that we need to treat others with kindness and compassion. Muni means stillness and purity. The whole meaning of Shakyamuni teaches us to behave toward others with kindness and compassion, to strive for purity of mind for ourselves. This is the meaning of Shakyamuni and is innate to our original nature. Amichuofo is a Sanskrit transliteration. Amichuo means infinite. Fo means Buddha. What is infinite? Everything, infinite wisdom, ability, long life, etc. But of all infinities, infinite life is the most important, for without it all infinities are useless. With it, we can enjoy all other infinities. How can we gain these infinities? Infinity is none other than our self-nature, our original true nature. Master Huineng said, self-nature is innate, from self-nature arises all phenomena in the universe. In other words, it means infinity. What method do we use to attain this infinity? We practice the teachings of great compassion bodhisattva and great strength bodhisattva. The former teaches us to be compassionate, the latter teaches us the single-minded concentration of Buddha Amitabha. Great strength bodhisattva taught us concentrate solely on Buddha Amitabha, without ceasing, without intermingling with other methods, and in this way we will surely attain wisdom and enlightenment. Adding to this is the compassionate way of great compassion bodhisattva. Behaving towards others with compassion and chanting only Namo Amichuofo will enable us to enjoy infinite life. In this way we will develop our virtuous nature and uncover our infinite merits and virtues. Thus, when we pay respect to the images of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, we need to understand that each is representative of a way of cultivation and of the truth of the universe. The Hall of Heavenly Guardians. Buddhist architecture is also an artistic expression. From the exterior, the main cultivation hall appears to have 2 stories, but there is only 1 story inside. The external 2 stories represent absolute truth or the true reality of life in the universe, and relative truth or worldly views still clouded with delusion. The interior single story illustrates that both are the same truth. To the deluded, the 2 appear distinct and different, however, to the enlightened, they are one and the same. Upon entering a way place, we first see the hall of heavenly guardians. In the center of the hall is Maitreya Bodhisattva. To his left and right are the 4 heavenly guardians or Dharma protectors. Maitreya Bodhisattva, known as the Happy Buddha in the West, is represented by the image of the historical monk Buddhai, a manifestation of Maitreya Bodhisattva. Maitreya Bodhisattva has a big smile that conveys want to learn Buddhism. Be happy and greet everyone with a smile. Do not constantly lose your temper or else you cannot learn Buddhism. This Bodhisattva also has a huge belly representing great broad-mindedness and equality of mind, teaching us to treat everything and everyone with generosity, patience and serenity. Only by emulating such qualities can we learn and practice Buddhism. Therefore, Maitreya Bodhisattva sits facing the door to tell all who enter, only those who can accomplish this are eligible to learn Buddhism. Standing beside Maitreya Bodhisattva are the 4 heavenly guardians or Dharma protectors. They are symbolic guardians of the practitioners of the Buddhist way. Whom do they protect? They protect us by reminding us to educate ourselves and to safeguard the proper knowledge, which we should learn. Each guardian portrays a different aspect of thought or action. The Eastern Dharma protector symbolizes responsibility and safeguards the territory, which means that all of us are responsible for ourselves, our family, society and the country as a whole. How do we fulfill this responsibility? If each of us performs our duties well, fulfilling our obligations, we support each other and ourselves as well. In this way, society will be harmonious and the country will be prosperous and powerful. The Southern Dharma protector symbolizes progress and teaches us diligence. It is not enough to just meet our responsibilities. We need to make progress with each passing day, for no progress means we regress. He emphasizes the importance of constantly cultivating and advancing our virtue, conduct, wisdom and ability, and to improve performance in our duties and our standard of living. From this, we can see that Buddhism is progressive, always leading the times. The Western Dharma protector symbolizes comprehensive vision and knowledge gained through exposure to the world. He represents the need to open our eyes to observe nature and humanity, to refine what we see and learn, and to distinguish good from ill. The Northern Dharma protector symbolizes comprehensive study and learning. Both teach ways of practice and how to achieve the goals in responsibility fulfillment and self-improvement. As the ancient Chinese have said, to read 10,000 books and to travel 10,000 miles. Reading is the means for accomplishing the fundamental knowledge. Traveling 10,000 miles is to learn from observation. Through travel we see advantages of others and learn from them. We also see their shortcomings, which can in turn serve as a warning to us, so that we constantly improve ourselves. In this way, we can build a prosperous society and a safe country. In doing so, we safeguard the Dharma. So, the images of the Bodhisattvas and Dharma protectors remind us to be diligent in the pursuit of our goals and responsibilities. So, we can see that Buddhism is neither a religion nor superstition. The 4 Dharma protectors hold various objects to symbolize different aspects of the Dharma. The Eastern Dharma protector of managing the nation holds a lute, which symbolizes the principle that we need to refrain from acting with undue haste, but should keep to the middle path. It is like playing a lute. If the strings are too loose, it will not play. If they are too tight, they will break. We need to be responsible in our duties and do things in a proper, balanced way. The Southern Dharma protector of growth holds the sword of wisdom that cuts away all troubles and worries. The Western Dharma protector holds a dragon or snake that is twining around him. The dragon or snake symbolizes change. Today, everything is constantly changing. Only when we can see the truth will we be able to interact with ease and serenity. The Northern Dharma protector holds an umbrella symbolizing protecting us from all the pollution that is around us. While learning, we need to safeguard our pure mind and quiet heart from becoming polluted. Furthermore, we need to understand the true reality of life in the universe, to have the wisdom and ability to properly interact with all people and handle matters and objects. All of this can be learned from visiting the Hall of Heavenly Guardians. If we regard the protectors as deities with magical powers who will protect us if we burn incense, prostrate and offer flowers and fruit praying for protection and safety, we will be sadly mistaken. This is superstition. All the facilities, images of Buddha and Bodhisattvas and any offerings made are teaching tools designed to inspire our mind and wisdom. They also serve to remind us of the importance of being enlightened instead of deluded, virtuous instead of deviated, pure instead of polluted. These are the 3 principles of Buddha's teaching and practice. Therefore, everything in a way play serves as a teaching aid. Even the offerings are educational. A container of water symbolizes the Dharma. The water is clean, symbolizing that our minds need to be as pure as the water. It is calm without a single ripple, symbolizing the tranquility in our hearts. It is to have purity and equality of mind. Flowers symbolize the cause as the blossoming of flowers results in the bearing of fruit. Flowers symbolize the 6 paramitas. Fruits are not offered to the Buddha or Bodhisattvas to eat. They remind us that if we want the sweet fruit or the good result, we must cultivate and accumulate good deeds, the cause. Thus, everything we see in the way place is a teaching aid. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas neither smell nor eat, they want for nothing. We also see lamps, which symbolize wisdom and brightness, incense sticks, which symbolize self-discipline and deep concentration. You will not see anything in the cultivation and lecture halls that do not symbolize some teaching. However, it is a sad loss that many Buddhists are totally ignorant of the educational significance of these objects. They do not know why they burn the incense, or why they make offerings to the images of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Their belief is actually superstition. Some people criticize Buddhists being superstitious. These critics are right. Too many Buddhists are confused about Buddhism. We need to be clear on what we are learning and explain this to the skeptics and critics, then I believe they will also want to learn. I have introduced Buddhism to people in China in this manner. After hearing my explanation, they said they had been ignorant of such a good thing and wished to learn more. In conclusion, it is the genuine wisdom and infinite enlightenment in Buddhism that helps all sentient beings obtain true benefits and happiness. The Buddha teaches all beings with his boundless compassionate heart. Throughout history, Buddhist practitioners, whether they be of the esoteric, Zen or any other school, have made great achievements following these principles and methods. Today, however, people know very little of the genuine principles and methods, so few have any real achievements. In our Dharma-ending age, people have overwhelming obstacles from their accumulated karma. Under these circumstances, the Buddha name chanting method is most effective due to its simplicity and expediency. It neither takes a long time nor requires special rituals. Anyone can practice it any time, any place. This is why so many people have achieved attainment. Taiwan is neither large in population nor size, but in the last 40 years, by my most conservative estimate, at least 500 people have attained birth into the Pure Land to become a Buddha in one lifetime. To succeed, we accord with teachings in the 5 Pure Land Sutras and 1 commentary, generate the Bodhi mind, and concentrate on mindfulness of Buddha Amitabha. The Awakening of Faith Sastra stated that enlightenment is innate, delusion is not. Therefore, we definitely can uncover our innate Buddha nature and proper viewpoints. We definitely can discard what is not innate, our delusion, deviated viewpoints and impurities. Thus, we recite sincerely Amichuofo to rid ourselves of our negative karmas and habits, to live simply and to practice diligently to attain the Buddha name chanting samadhi. Then, finally we will attain freedom in body and mind, and understand the true reality. We are free to go whenever we wish. If we choose to remain here for a longer time, that's all right. Since so many have achieved, why can't we? We have not sincerely chanted long enough. How long is long enough? According to ancient records, many have achieved after 3 years. After that, we no longer have any fears. We will feel perfectly safe and our minds will be at ease. If the Third World War were to start today and a nuclear bomb was to explode, we would simply say that it was time to go to the Pure Land. No pain, no fear, true freedom. Then, this is what the Infinite Life Sutra stated of the true benefit given to all sentient beings. Adopt whatever teachings and practices are beneficial and effective. There is only one ultimate goal for us, benefiting all sentient beings, helping them free themselves from delusions and sufferings, and enabling them to attain happiness and enlightenment. If badgering or sternness works, use it. If gentleness works, use it. But be aware that falsehoods, attachments, emotions and delusions have nothing to do with Buddhism or achieving our goal. I hope everyone will attain the goal of freedom from delusion, attachment and suffering, to attain happiness, tranquility and a perfect complete enlightenment. This is the conclusion of The Awakening of Wisdom and Compassion by Venerable Master Chin Kung, is a profound guide on the path to wisdom and compassion. We hope this enlightening journey has inspired you to delve deeper into the teachings of Buddhism. For more beneficial readings and spiritual insights, remember to check back with the Buddhist bookshelf. Your pursuit of knowledge and enlightenment is a commendable endeavor, and we are here to support your quest for wisdom and compassion. A friendly reminder, your engagement through likes, shares, and subscriptions plays a pivotal role in disseminating these profound teachings, extending their reach to touch the lives of innumerable individuals in pursuit of enlightenment and inner tranquility. We sincerely thank you for embarking on this enlightening journey with us, united in our mission to make the profound teachings of the Buddha readily available to all who seek them. Buddhism's timeless wisdom carries the potential to illuminate minds and bring solace to countless souls. Your participation is not just an act of support for our channel, but a contribution to a broader cause: the dissemination of enlightenment, compassion, and peace. Together, we can bridge the gap between seekers and the invaluable teachings of the Buddha, breaking down barriers and making these teachings accessible to people from all walks of life. Every like, every share, and every subscription strengthens this bridge, fostering a world where the wisdom of the Buddha can bring solace, understanding, and harmony to an ever-widening audience. Your continued support is deeply appreciated, and we invite you to stay connected with us on this meaningful journey. Let's unite in our efforts to ensure that the radiant teachings of the Buddha touch the hearts and minds of all who yearn for them.